The shotgun blast echoed across the endless Texas sky like a thunderclap from hell, shattering the lazy hum of cicadas and sending a flock of blackbirds exploding from the pecan trees. Ronan Hale dropped to his knees in the red dirt, his hands slick with blood that wasn't his own, staring at me with eyes wide as the horizon, whispering, "Elias, oh God, what have I done?" In that split second, as the metallic tang of gunpowder hung in the air and the weight of his uncle's old Remington slumped from his trembling fingers, I realized the line we'd towed for years had just been obliterated, and there was no coming back from the wreckage. I'd known Ronan since we were kids scraping our knees on the cracked sidewalks of Austin, back when the city still felt like a secret we owned, not the bloated tech sprawl it became. He was the golden boy, all easy grins and sun-bleached hair, the kind of guy who could charm a rattlesnake out of its skin. I was the shadow to his light, Elias Thorne, quieter, with a sketchbook always tucked under my arm, drawing the world in charcoal strokes that captured what words never could. We met in 3rd grade over a shared hatred for multiplication tables, bonding in the back of Mrs. Hargrove's classroom by passing notes folded into tiny airplanes. By high school, we were inseparable, crashing on each other's couches after keggers, nursing hangovers with Whataburger runs at dawn. But love sneaks up like humidity in July, thick and unrelenting until you can't breathe without it pressing on your chest. For me, it started junior year, the night of the Longhorn bonfire. The air reeked of mesquite smoke and cheap beer, flames licking 30 feet high as the cheer squad chanted, and the band blared some go-doffel fight song. Ronan had his arms slung around my shoulders, his breath warm against my ear as he yelled over the roar. "This is it, man. We're invincible." His fingers lingered a beat too long, tracing the seam of my jacket, and something in me cracked open like a fault line. I loved him, not the buddy way, not the bromance bullshit everyone else saw. I loved the way his laugh lines crinkled when he talked about his dreams of ditching college for a ranch life, the freckles dusting his nose like stars on a clear night, the quiet vulnerability he only showed me when the world's weight got too heavy. I never said a word. Why ruin the only good thing in my life? Ronan was straight as the I-35, dated a string of girls who looked like they stepped out of a country music video, blondes with cut-off shorts and drawls that could melt butter. I played the role, wingman, confidant, the guy who picked up the pieces after his heart got stomped. "You deserve better, Ro," I'd say, forcing a smile as he nursed another breakup over frozen pizzas in my cramped off-campus apartment. Head crashed there, sprawled on my futon in nothing but boxers, oblivious to how my pulse thundered like a stampede. College blurred into a haze of half-finished art degrees and bar shifts at that dive on 6th Street, the one with the neon Longhorn sign flickering like a bad omen. I scraped by on loans and tips, sketching portraits of drunk frat boys for $20 a pop, while Ronan majored in agribusiness, acing classes on soil science and cattle breeding like it was poetry. "Gonna buy me a spread up in the hill country one day," he'd say, eyes lighting up over greasy fries. "You'll come, right? Build me a studio or some shit. We can grow old shooting the breeze." I'd nod, throat tight, imagining it. A life orbiting him, close enough to feel the heat but never touch the flame. But then his Uncle Harlan got sick. Pancreatic cancer, the kind that eats you from the inside out like a slow fire. Harlan's farm sat on the outskirts of Willow Ridge, a speck of a town 2 hours west of Austin, where the land stretched flat and unforgiving under a sky so big it swallowed secrets whole. Head poured his soul into that place. 200 acres of cotton fields and grazing pasture, a weathered barn that creaked like an old man's bones, and a 2-story farmhouse with wraparound porch overlooking a creek that ran muddy after rains. Ronan got the call in late spring, right as the bluebonnets were fading. We were at Joe's bar, shooting pool under the haze of cigarette smoke. Texas still clung to its vices despite the laws, when his phone buzzed. His face drained of color, that easy swagger folding in on itself. "His bed, Ellie. Real bad. Wants me to come help run things till, you know." I drove us back in silence, his hand drumming the dash, the radio murmuring some weepy George Strait ballad about lost love. The next weekend, We loaded up my beat-up Ford Ranger with coolers of Shiner Bock and a duffel of clothes, hitting the road as the sun dipped low, painting the dashboard orange. Willow Ridge unfolded like a faded postcard. Dusty Main Street with a single stoplight, a feed store flying the Longhorns flag, and Harlan's place at the end of County Road 17, where the blacktop gave way to gravel that crunched under tires like brittle bones. The farmhouse loomed white against the scrub oak, porch swaying empty in the breeze. Harlan met us on the steps, gaunt as a ghost in his overalls, but his grip was iron when he clapped Ronan's shoulder. "'Bout time you showed, nephew. This land's got teeth, needs a young man's fight." I hung back, feeling like an intruder, but Ronan pulled me forward. "This is Elias. He's family." Harlan's eyes, sharp despite the pain etching his face, sized me up. "The artist, eh? Ronan talks you up like you're Picasso reborn. Grab a hoe, son. Art can wait. Dirt don't." Those first days blurred into a rhythm of sweat and soil. Mornings started at dawn with coffee black as tar on the porch, Harlan barking orders while Ronan and I wrestled the old John Deere through furrows, planting sorghum under a sun that boiled the air to broth. Afternoons meant mending fences, the barbed wire biting our palms as we twisted it taut. Ronan's shirt plastered to his back, revealing the lean muscles ID only glimpsed in stolen moments. Evenings would collapse on the sagging couch, Harlan regaling us with tales of wildcatting in the 70s. His voice gravelly with Marlboros and memory. I sketched when I could, charcoal smudging my fingers as I captured the farm in hurried lines. The windmill creaking against thunderheads, Ronan's silhouette pitching hay into the loft, Harlan's hands gnarled like live oaks. But the quiet moments gutted me. One night, after Harlan turned in early, Ronan and I sat on the tailgate of my truck, feet dangling over the creek, fireflies winking like faulty stars. He passed me a warm beer, his knee brushing mine, and in the dark, his voice cracked. "What if I can't do this, Eli? What if I fuck it all up?" I wanted to pull him close, tell him he'd never be alone, that I'd follow him into any hell this world cooked up. Instead, I bumped his shoulder.
"Yure Ronan hale."
"You were born for this." He leaned his head on my shoulder then, just for a heartbeat, the weight of him anchoring me to the earth. My heart hammered so loud I swore he heard it, but he just sighed, the sound heavy with unspoken fears. Harlan faded fast, the cancer a thief in the night. By midsummer, he was bedridden, morphine drip beeping like a metronome in the dim bedroom. Ronan aged a decade in weeks, shadows carving hollows under his eyes as he juggled vet calls for the herd and bank meetings about the mortgage. I stayed on, calling in sick to my bar gig, sleeping on a cot in the spare room that smelled of dust and liniment. We became a unit, him and me against the dying light, sharing cigarettes on the porch at 3 a.m., watching coyotes slink through the cotton rows. It was during one of those vigils that the first crack appeared. Harlan, lucid in a rare window, called Ronan to his side. I lingered in the hall, eavesdropping like a fool, heart in my throat. "Boy," Harlan rasped, "this farm's yours if you want it, but don't half-ass love." I did that once, lost the best thing I had chasing skirts and shadows. "Find your truth, Ronan, before it's gone." Ronan emerged pale, avoiding my eyes as he poured whiskey neat. "Old man's rambling," he muttered, but his hand shook on the glass. That night, as thunder rumbled distant, he crawled into my cot uninvited, back pressed to my chest, murmuring apologies for the intrusion. "Just need something solid, Eli." I froze, every nerve alight, his warmth seeping through thin sheets like a brand. Sleep evaded me, his breathing steady while mine ragged, the scent of him, earth and soap and salt, filling my lungs until I thought I'd shatter. The farm worked its magic slow, like roots burrowing deep. Days turned to rituals, repairing the irrigation ditch, where wed stripped to waistbands and wade knee-deep in silty water, laughing as minnows nipped our calves. Ronan taught me to rope calves, his hands guiding mine over the lasso, calluses rough against my skin. "Like this, feel the snap." I'd nod, pulse racing from proximity, not the lesson. Evenings meant grilling ribeyes over mesquite, Harlan watching from his rocker with a ghost of a smile, stories flowing like the creek after rain. But tension simmered beneath, a undercurrent pulling us toward the falls. Ronan started pulling away in tiny ways. A hesitation before our knees touched at dinner, eyes flicking from mine during quiet talks. I chalked it up to grief, the farm's burdens, but doubt gnawed like termites in the beams. One afternoon, as we branded strays in the corral, iron hissing red-hot against hide, Ronan froze mid-swing, staring at the smoke curling up. You ever feel like you're living someone else's life, Eli? Like the script's all wrong. I swallowed dust, hammer heavy in my hand. All the time. He met my gaze then, something raw flickering there, unspoken questions hanging thick as the brand's acrid bite. That night, Harlan slipped into coma, the house falling silent save for the grandfather's clock ticking like a countdown. We sat vigil in shifts, Ronan first, then me, the room heavy with monitors' beeps and the ghosts of yesteryears. When his turn ended, he found me in the kitchen, head in hands over cooling coffee. Without a word, he knelt before me, fingers tracing my knuckles, voice barely above whisper. I don't know how I'd do this without you. His touch lingered, electric, and for a madness moment, I thought he'd lean in, bridge the chasm. But he stood abrupt, muttering about checking the gate, leaving me adrift in the dark. Harlan's passing came at dawn, sky streaked pink as if bruised. Ronan found him still, hand curled like he was reaching for the horizon. The funeral was a blur of black hats and casseroles from the Willow Ridge Baptist ladies, dirt clotting onto pine box under a sky-threatening rain. Afterward, the reading. The farm to Ronan, lock, stock, and barrel, with a codicil urging him to live full, love fierce. We drove back in silence, gravel spitting under tires, the weight of inheritance pressing like a yoke. That evening, as locusts droned their dirge, Ronan cracked open Harlan's whiskey stash, pouring shots on the porch. To the old man, he toasted, clinking my glass, eyes glassy. 2 drinks in, words tumbled loose. He knew things, Eli, about me, about stuff I buried deep. I held breath, heart a war drum. What stuff? He stared at the fields, jaw tight. Doesn't matter, just thanks for sticking. You're the only one who sees me, you know? Not the act. His hand found mine on the rail, squeezing once, twice, before pulling away like burned. The air thickened, charged, but thunder grumbled warning, and he retreated inside, leaving me with echoes. The farm settled into us like a second skin, days bleeding into weeks under the relentless Texas sun. Ronan threw himself into the work with a ferocity that bordered on penance, rising before light to mend the windmill or negotiate hay prices at the co-op in town. I tagged along, my city-soft hands blistering on shovel handles, but the ache felt earned, a tether to him. Willow Ridge whispered about the hale boy in his shadow. Sidelong glances at the feed store where Mrs. Delaney, with her perm and perpetual scowl, tallied our grain while eyeing me like I was the devil's own. Ain't natural, 2 fellas rattling around that big house alone, she'd mutter to her husband, loud enough for us to hear. Ronan would flash his grin, defusing with charm. Eli's just helping out, ma'am. Family's family. But isolation bred intimacy, the kind that blurred lines like heat haze over asphalt. Mornings would share the clawfoot tub in the upstairs bath, water scalding, steam fogging the mirror. Ronan dunking his head under the spigot while I soaped my back, careful not to stare at the water tracing rivulets down his spine. Past the shampoo, artist. Head tease, foam flecking his lashes, and I'd toss it over, fingers brushing his in the mist. Those touches accumulated, small detonations. His palm flat on my lower back guiding me through a narrow barn aisle stacked with baled hay. The press of his thigh against mine during truck rides over rutted roads, elbows knocking as we pored over Harlan's ledgers by lamplight. I filled notebooks with it all. The curve of his neck when he bent to check irrigation valves. The way his lips pursed around a blade of grass as he scanned the herd from the ridge. Art became confession. Strokes confessing what my tongue wouldn't. One dusk, as he napped on the porch swing, Stetson tipped over eyes. I sketched him fierce, lines capturing the vulnerability beneath the bravado, the faint scar on his chin from a childhood wipeout on his dirt bike. He woke mid-stroke, catching me, and for a heartbeat, silence stretched taut. "That's intense," he said, voice rough, peering at the page. "You see too much, Eli." I shrugged, heat crawling my neck. "Habit." He held my gaze, something shifting in the blue depths, like clouds parting over the plains. Then he ruffled my hair, breaking the spell. "Come on, supper ain't cooking itself." Town trips punctuated the solitude, jaunts to the Willow Ridge Diner for peach cobbler and gossip, or the honky-tonk on Fridays where neon buzzed and steel guitars wailed. Ronan dragged me once, claiming I needed real Texas socialization. But the bar reeked of spilled long necks and regret, locals and wranglers two-stepping with girls in Daisy Dukes. He danced with a redhead named Lacey, her laughter bright as the jukebox lights, while I nursed a lone star at the corner booth, sketching bar tops scarred like old hearts. Jealousy coiled cold in my gut, but when he slid back beside me, sweat damp and grinning, it eased. "Your turn's up, Thorne. Show 'em how city boys move." I demurred, but he hauled me to the floor anyway, hands on hips as Waylon Jennings crooned about mamas and outlaws. We shuffled awkward, his boots stepping on mine, but his proximity drowned the room. The brush of his chest to mine, breath mingling with whiskey and want. "Not bad," he murmured close, lips grazing my ear accidental. My blood sang, but the song ended, and Lacey claimed him again, leaving me adrift. Back home, under stars sharp as branding irons, truths surfaced like bubbles in fermenting mash. We'd drive the perimeter in the old F-150, radio low on AM static, talking in circles about everything and nothing. "Ever think about leaving?" I asked one night, dust devils swirling in headlights. He drummed fingers on the wheel, jaw shadowed. "Used to. Big dreams, Nashville, maybe rodeo circuit. But this." He waved at the dark fields. "It's roots, Eli. Deep ones. Pull you under if you fight." I nodded, throat dry. "And love? That's roots too." The question hung, bold as brass. He glanced sharp, then away. "Guess so. But love ain't always what you think. Sometimes it's complicated." Silence swallowed the rest, engine rumble underscoring the unsaid. Harlan's absence echoed loudest in the little things. The empty rocker creaking in wind, his pipe left on the mantel gathering dust, the way Ronan paused at the kitchen table, staring at the chair head favored. Grief hollowed him, turning laughter brittle, nights restless with pacing. I'd find him in the barn at odd hours, currying the mare Moonpea by lantern light, murmurs to her like prayers. One such midnight, insomnia drove me out, flannel pulled over pajamas against the chill. He looked up, surprise softening to relief. "Can't sleep. Same as you." I leaned on the stall door, watching bristles glide over chestnut flank. He set the brush aside, wiping hands on jeans. "Feels like betraying him, you know? Moving on. Like if I laugh too loud, he's gone for good." I stepped inside, close enough to smell hay and horse in him. "Head want you to live, Ro." Fierce, like he said. Our eyes locked, air thickening, and then, God help me, his hand cupped my jaw, thumb tracing my cheekbone tentative. "What if living means facing shit I ain't ready for?" His voice broke, raw, and I leaned in, foreheads touching, breaths sinking in the dim. We stayed like that, suspended, until Moonpea nickered soft, shattering fragile. He pulled back first, exhaling shaky. "We should get some shut-eye." But as we climbed the stairs, his fingers laced mine brief, a lifeline in the dark. Summer peaked in a heat wave that cracked the earth, mirages dancing over pastures. The cotton bolted white as snowdrifts, harvest looming like a deadline. Ronan hired seasonal hands, roughnecks from Lubbock with tattoos and tobacco chaws, but I stuck to the house, cooking pots of chili and cornbread, washing sweat-stiff clothes in the wringer washer out back. One blistering afternoon, As thunderheads piled east, Ronan stumbled in early, face ashen under dirt streaks. Eli, come on quick. Calves in the north pasture, fences down. Storm's gonna flood em. We raced the ranger over washes, sky bruising purple, wind whipping dust devils into frenzy. The calves' load panicked, clustered against sagging wire half submerged in flash runoff. Ronan waded in without hesitation, jeans soaking to thighs, yelling instructions over gale. Grab that post. Steady it. I plunged after, mud-sucking boots, heart slamming as lightning fork jagged. Together we hauled wire taut, muscles straining, rain lashing like needles when it broke. Soaked through, we collapsed against the truck as it eased, calves scattering safe. He laughed first, wild and unhinged, shoving wet hair from eyes. Holy shit, we did it. Adrenaline surged, and before thought, I grabbed his shirt front, pulling him close, mouths crashing in a kiss born of storm and survival. He stiffened shock, then yielded, hands fisting my collar, tongues tentative then desperate, tasting salt and rain and revelation. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, world narrowing to pulse points. Eli, he whispered, fear threading wonder. Fuck. No more words. Just him hauling me into the cab, door slamming as hail pinged metal, bodies tangling on vinyl bench seat, exploration frantic under slick shirts. His skin burned fever-hot, gasps muffled against necks, hands mapping uncharted territories with reverence and hunger. After, tangled in afterglow as storm raged, reality crept cold. He sat up abrupt, zipping jeans with trembling fingers. This, we can't. Am not. Hurt lanced me, but I nodded, dressing silent. The drive home blurred, wipers slapping rhythm, unspoken fracturing between us. He avoided me next days, burying in work, barking orders sharp. I holed up sketching furious, lines jagged with betrayal. Not of him, but the hope ID dared. Tension coiled like barbed wire, snagging every glance, every brush in the kitchen. One evening, as cicadas screamed dusk, he cornered me in the barn, voice low. That night, it was the storm. Adrenaline doesn't change who I am. Pain bloomed fresh. Then why'd it feel like truth? He flinched, turning away. Because you're you, Eli. And him. Scared shitless. He left me there, lantern flickering shadows long as regrets. Harvest hit like a freight train, combines rumbling dawn to dark, dust choking air. We worked side by side, mechanical, words sparse as rain. But undercurrents pulled, his eyes lingering when he thought I didn't notice, touches accidental turning deliberate. A hand on nape drying hair after shower, thigh pressed during supper. Desire simmered, forbidden fruit ripening in the heat. Then came the letter, slipped under the door like a serpent's tongue. From Ronan's ex, Tessa, the sorority girl who'd clawed her way through his heart freshman year. Heard about Harlan. Coming to help. See you soon. Love, T. My stomach nodded, ink blurring under thumb. Ronan read it pale, crumpling it tight. She's just worried. Old times. But old times arrived in a cloud of perfume and heels clicking on porch boards. Tessa with her blowout and Botox smile, arms full of sympathy casseroles. Ronan, baby, she cooed, hugging tight, eyes flicking dismissive over me. This place needs a woman's touch. He let her in, awkward but yielding, and suddenly the farmhouse echoed with her laughter, her hands on his arm, her whispers in his ear at night. Jealousy festered, green and vicious, as I watched from margins. Her perched on his lap during movie nights, his arm around her waist at the diner. She's good for him, I told my reflection, but lies tasted bitter. One night, hearing moans through thin walls, I fled to the creek, skipping stones till knuckles bled, tears hot as the shame. Confrontation brewed inevitable. After a church social where Tessa preened like a peacock, Ronan dropped me at the house early, claiming headache. I waited up, whiskey burning throat, until he stumbled in smelling of her lipstick. Happy now, I spat, voice cracking. He whirled, eyes flashing. What the hell, Eli? She's trying, giving me normal. Normal. Laughter hollow. That kiss wasn't normal. That was us. He advanced, pinning me to the wall, breath ragged. Don't. You'll ruin everything. But his body betrayed, hips grinding involuntary, lips hovering inches. We crashed again, fiercer, clothes shedding in hallway frenzy, tumbling to the rug in a heap of limbs and longing. This time, no storm excuse, just raw need. Him whispering my name like litany as we moved together, boundaries dissolving in sweat-slick grace. Dawn found us spent, tangled sheets, his head on my chest. What are we doing? He murmured, fingers tracing my ribs. Loving? I whispered back, daring truth. But as light crept, doubt shadowed his eyes. Tessa, she's leaving tomorrow. Says she gets it now, the farm life. Panic flickered. Us, it's gotta stay here. In Willow Ridge. Can't take it back to Austin. The words landed like punches, compartmentalizing us into secret. I nodded numb, but fracture lines spread, promising quake. Autumn crept in sly, painting the live oaks gold and crimson, the air sharpening with wood smoke and the faint rot of fallen leaves. Harvest wrapped, silos bulging with cotton bolls, and Ronan exhaled relief, shoulders easing as checks cleared the bank. Tessa lingered a week longer than promised, her presence a thorn under saddle, all fluttering lashes and darliness that grated like sand in gears. She'd corner me in the kitchen, stirring gravy with a smile too bright. You're such a good friend to him, Elias, keeping the place running. But a man needs more than that, you know? Her eyes said she knew my secret, or guessed, and pity curled her lip. Ronan played the part, escorting her to the harvest festival in town. Hayrides and pumpkin carving under strings of Edison bulbs, fiddles sawing hoedowns till midnight. ID begged off with a headache, but truth was cowardice. Staying home to nurse a sketchpad filled with erasures, half-formed faces of him dissolving into storms. They returned late, her giggles echoing as he walked her to the guest room, door clicking soft. I lay awake, ceiling fan whirring accusations, until footsteps padded past my door. His, pausing, then retreating to his own. Morning brought her departure, suitcase thumping downstairs, hugs lingering at the screen door. Call me, Ronan. This could be us. He promised vague, waving as her Civic kicked gravel down the drive. Silence settled heavy, broken only by the drip of the kitchen faucet. He found me at the table, coffee gone cold, staring at nothing. Eli. About last night. Don't. I stood abrupt, chair scraping. She's right. You need normal. His face crumpled, hand reaching. It's not that simple. You think I don't feel it? This pull. He stepped close, heat radiating. Every damn day I fight it. The town, the family name, Hale's been straight arrow since the Alamo. But you're in my blood. We collided slow this time, kisses deliberate, mapping territories with reverence. His lips on collarbone, my fingers in his hair, bodies aligning like puzzle pieces long lost. The farmhouse became our sanctuary, stolen hours in the hayloft where sun shafts dappled skin, whispers traded like contraband. Tell me what you want, head murmur against my thigh, voice husky, and ID guide him gentle, teaching rhythms we'd both craved unspoken. Nights, heads slip into my bed after midnight, bodies entwining quiet to avoid creaks, his mouth sealing secrets on my neck. But secrets fester, poisoning from within. Willow Ridge buzzed with Tessa's parting shots. Overheard at the post office, her confiding to the mayor's wife about that funny friend of Ronan's, always hovering. Whispers followed us. At the co-op, where old Mr. Jenkins shorted our fuel with a smirk. In church pews, where deacons cleared throats during sermons on Sodom. Ronan hardened, jaw set permanent, retreating to the far pastures alone. Radio blaring Reba to drown thoughts. I pushed back one crisp evening, as we branded the fall calves. Iron glowing cherry in the forge, steers lowing protest. Smoke curled acrid, stinging eyes already raw. We can't keep hiding, Ro. It's eating you alive. He slammed the tongs down, sparks flying. Easy for you to say. You ain't the one with a legacy to uphold. Dad would roll in his grave. Anger flared hot, masking fear. And what about us? This? I gestured wild between us, voice breaking. Legacy or lie? He turned away, shoulders rigid. But when the last brand hissed home, he pulled me behind the tack room. Kiss bruising, hands frantic. I love you, Eli. God help me, I do. The words unlocked floodgates, tears mixing with sweat as we sank to our knees in straw, reaffirming vows in gasps and grips. Love bloomed defiant, small rebellions. His hand in mine during truck rides to Amarillo for supplies, fingers lacing bold over console. Shared glances across diner booths that spoke volumes, waitress be damned. I sold sketches online, portraits of ranch hands, landscapes veined with emotion. Funneling cash to ease the mortgage, Ronan beaming pride when packages arrived with acceptances from Austin galleries. Told you, Picasso, world needs your eyes. Yet cracks widened. Ronan's cousin Bo blew in unannounced. An oil rig roughneck from Midland with a Ford F-350 and opinions sharper than his chaw. Heard Uncle Harlan left you the keys to the kingdom, little cuz? He boomed over brisket, slapping Ronan's back. Bo stayed weeks, helping with fences but really sniffing for weakness. His Bible-thumping wife Nora clucking tongue at my artsy ways. Dinners turned interrogations, Bo probing Ronan's plans for a family. Eyes narrowing when I cleared plates too quick. Tension peaked one bonfire night, flames crackling high as Bo spun yarns of wildcatters and baptisms. Whiskey loosened tongues, Nora dozing on a blanket, and Bo leaned in conspiratorial. Heard rumors, Ronan. You and that Thorn boy, tight as ticks. Ain't right, blood calling to blood. Ronan stiffened, bottle midway to lips. Watch it, Bo. Ellis family.
Bulog tagli.
Family? Bible says love thy neighbor too. I cut in, voice steady despite quake. Silence fell thick, sparks popping defiant. Bo's face mottled, but Ronan stood, chair toppling. Get out, both of you. Farm's mine. My rules. They left sputtering, taillights fading into night, but damage lingered, Bo's seed of doubt sprouting thorns. Ronan unraveled slow after, nights pacing porch with Harlan's pipe unlit, staring at stars like accusations. He's right, ain't he? Folks'll talk us to death. ID pull him inside, body's solace, but hollows deepened under his eyes, touch turning desperate rather than tender. Winter whispered in early, first frost silvering pastures, breath fogging on morning chores. We decorated sparse. A string of lights on the mantel, Harlan's old ornaments tinkling like memories, and hosted a solstice gathering for the hands, mulled cider steaming as guitars strummed carols twisted outlaw. Ronan glowed that night, arm around my waist hidden by shadows, whispering plans for spring. A studio for me by the creek, greenhouses for heirloom tomatoes. Our life, Eli. Real. Hope flickered fragile, but fate has teeth. New Year's brought snow rare as mercy, blanketing Willow Ridge in hush, world muffled white. We made love by the fireplace, logs popping counterpoint to moans. His vows murmured against skin. Forever, you and me. But dawn thawed revelations. A voicemail from Ronan's father, voice tinny on speaker. Son, Bo's been calling, says things ain't right up there. Come home. We need to talk. Ronan deleted it silent, but fracture echoed. Days later, during a cattle auction in San Angelo, his phone buzzed insistent. Dad again, then Tessa, texts piling like drifts. I caught him in the truck cab, face buried in hands. They know Eli, or suspect. Dad wants me back in Austin managing the feedlot. Says the farm's too much for one man. And us. Heart plummeted. He looked up, eyes shattered glass. I can't lose you, but if I fight, I lose everything else. The drive home stretched eternal, snow flurrying windshield, unspoken ultimatum hanging. Back at the farm, isolation closed in, blizzard stranding us for days. Power flickering, generator humming as we huddled under quilts, bodies heat against cold. In that cocoon, truths poured. His fears of damnation drilled since Sunday school. My own scars from coming out in art school. Whispers of fag in dorm halls. We're stronger together, I urged, fingers laced. He nodded, but doubt shadowed, a third in our bed. Spring teased with false thaws, then slammed back winter, mirroring our stasis. Ronan hedged calls from home, voice clipped, but Bo returned sly, just checking stock. His truck idling long after Nora drove off. One afternoon, as I sketched in the loft, voices drifted up. Ronan's low, Bo's insistent. "Cuz, listen. Dad's offering you a out, sell the place, come work rigs. Real money. And Tessa, she's asking around, hurt bad. You owe her normalcy." Rustle of papers, deed drafts. My blood iced, descending ladder quiet as thief. They stood in the aisle, Bo's hand on Ronan's shoulder, faces close. "Think on it. For the family." Ronan nodded numb, spotting me, eyes widening guilt. Bo left smirking, and confrontation ignited. "What the hell was that?" I demanded, sketchpad crumpling in fist. "Just talk, Eli. Debts piling, vets, repairs. Can't bleed us dry. Sell? After everything. Betrayal burned. Is that your out? Back to straight and narrow, Tessa waiting?" He recoiled, voice rising. "You think this is easy? Loving you. It's a goddamn war every day. Then fight. Tears hot. Or let me go clean." Silence deafened. His back to me as he gripped stall door white-knuckled. "I need time." The words gutted. Time the coward's grace. That night he slept alone, bed cold chasm. Morning brought decision. He drove to Austin unannounced, just to talk, promising return by dusk. Hours stretched agony. Me pacing furrows, sketching aborted. His face half-formed, eraser shredding paper to confetti. Dusk fell without headlights, night deepening to void. Midnight, truck rumbled up, but he emerged changed, shoulders slumped, eyes red-rimmed. "Dad, he knows," confronted me at the house, said if I choose this life, I'm cut off. No inheritance, no name, and breath held. He stepped close, hand cupping my face tender. "I choose you." Kiss sealed it, salt tanged, but undercurrent trembled. What's lost can't be reclaimed. Summer roared back vengeful, heat mirages warping fences into illusions, mirroring the distortions creeping into our world. Ronan's declaration hung fragile as spider silk, tested daily by echoes from Austin. Voicemails deleted unheard, letters from lawyers crisping in the wood stove, Bo's weekly drive-bys, masked as neighborly checks. The farm thrived superficial, cotton lush, herd fat on spring grass. But beneath, fissures snaked, pressure building to burst. We clung fierce, love a bulwark against siege. Morning's dawn tangled, his mouth waking me slow with kisses trailing jaw to hip, murmurs of mine against thigh. No going back, head afirm, eyes fierce as we moved together, bodies testament. Afternoons meant work shared, his hand brushing mine over reins as we rode the pastures. Wind tugging shirts loose, laughter free when isolation allowed. I'd sketch him astride the roan, lines capturing power and poise, gifting the portrait framed for his birthday. Simple pine from the lumberyard. Inscription, "To roots and wings." He hung it in the study, Harlan's old domain, kissing me deep against the desk. Means everything. But nights brought phantoms, him bolting upright from dreams, sweat slick, whispering apologies for imagined betrayals. "What if I break us, Eli? Drag you down?" I'd soothe with touches, words, but fear lodged deep, a barbed hook. Town turned hostile subtle. Credit denied at the co-op, on account of outstanding Feed deliveries late with notes scrawled, "Payment first." Whispers amplified. Overpump at the gas station, where the mechanic spat tobacco and muttered abominations loud. In pews at revival, fire and brimstone preacher thundering on sins of the flesh as Ronan gripped the bulletin till it shredded. We skipped Sundays after, holing up with pancakes and playlists, but isolation bred cabin fever, walls closing like corral gates. Escape came in fragments. A weekend in Marfa, for hours west through scrub and ghost towns, chasing art installations under endless sky. The prism lights danced ethereal at dusk, refracting rainbows over prairie, and we wandered hand-in-hand twilight, tourists scarce. "Like us," he said, tracing my palm, bending light into colors no one expects. Hotel rooms smelled of sage and starched linens, bed a battlefield of limbs and laughter, exploring lazy till dawn, his head pillowed on my stomach as we talked futures. Expanding the farm organic, me exhibiting in Santa Fe, a life woven tight. Return soured quick. Tessa appeared uninvited, parked in the drive like reckoning, blonde hair whipping in wind as she unloaded boxes of his things from college. "Thought you'd want these," she said, brittle eyes red. Ronan stiffened on the porch, me hovering shadow. "Tessa, this ain't. Save it." She thrust a box at him, photo albums tumbling. Us at prom, him with cheerleaders, me cropped from edges. "Dad told me everything." Bo called, said you're confused. Living some delusion up here. Her gaze flicked to me, venomous. "He's using you, Elias, to rebel. But Ronan Hale needs a real family. Not this experiment." Words landed like slaps, Ronan flushing crimson. "Get off my land." But she laughed bitter, tears tracking mascara. "Your land? Daddy's cutting you off, Ronan. No more checks. And the bank? They'll foreclose by fall if you don't sell." She peeled out furious, dust plume accusing. Truth confirmed what Wed feared. Ronan's father, Harlan's brother, leveraged influence. Old money in Austin agribusiness. Strings pulled to choke the farm. Mortgage notes arrived next day. Rates jacked punitive. Foreclosure whispers from the banker's office. Ronan paced the kitchen, maps spread frantic, calculating acres to auction. "We can sell the East 40. Keep the house, the core. And then," I pressed, voice steady mask for panic. "They win. We shrink." He deflated, head in hands. "I chose you, Eli. But choice ain't free." That night, love turned salvage. Fierce, reclaiming. Him taking me against the wall with growls and grips, as if possession could ward off loss. But after, in dark, he confessed. Tessa offered help. Her folks could co-sign if we tried again. Betrayal forked lightning. "You're considering?" "Not like that." He sat up, pleading. "Just the loan. Prove to them stable. Then ID end it clean." "Stable." Echo hollow. "And us? Your dirty secret till the ink dries. It's temporary. For us." But lies reeked, and I shoved him away, dressing in moonlight, fleeing to the barn where Moonpea nickered soft. Dawn found me curled in hay, sketchpad open to a half-formed scene. Him walking away, back turned to a burning farmhouse. He apologized profuse over breakfast, pancakes cooling untouched. "Won't do it. Well, fight another way." But seed planted, doubt our constant companion. We rallied fragile. I ramped online sales, portraits of Texas icons fetching hundreds, funneling every dime to escrow. Ronan networked co-op meetings, bartering for leniency, his charm a weapon honed sharp. Bo circled vulture, dropping by with offers from developers eyeing the acreage for fracking. Fat checks that tempted despite scorn. Climax brewed in July, heat index triple digits, air thick as molasses. A storm front stalled east, lightning forking dry, sparking fires in the panhandle that drifted smoke hazy. The bank summoned Ronan formal, letter crisp on letterhead, demanding payment or deed. He went alone, returning hollow-eyed, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. They want it all. Say Harlan's will was contested. Dad pushing fraud claims. Says he was incompetent at the end. Rage ignited. Contest? That's blood money. Worse, they know about us. Banker smirked. Said, lifestyle choices factor into stability assessments. His voice cracked, fists clenched white. They're weaponizing it, Eli. To break me. We drove to Austin that afternoon. Storm clouds boiling. Wipers slapping fury. The Hale family manse loomed on Westlake Hills. Spanish tile and wrought iron, pool glittering azure. A world from our dirt. Ronan's father, Harlan Sr., waited in the study, leather chairs and Scotch decanter, face carved granite. Son, he greeted cool, not rising. 'Bout time. Confrontation unfolded surgical. Accusations of manipulation, counters of tradition, Tessa hovering peripheral with tissues and tea. You're throwing away legacy for whims, Harlan Sr. intoned, eyes flicking dismissive to me in the doorway. That boy's poison. Send him packing, marry proper, and well call it square. Ronan erupted, voice thunder. Poison? Ellis, the only real thing I got. You and your legacy. It's chains, Dad. Harlan knew. Told me to live true. Papers slid across desk. Full payoff. In exchange for the deed and a clean break. Tessa stepped forward, hand on his arm. I still love you, Ronan. We can fix this. Be us again. The room spun, betrayal crystallizing. Ronan glanced at me, eyes pleading anchor, but pressure crushed. Family's weight, farm's fate. Eli. I need to think. He followed them out, leaving me adrift in enemy hall, portraits of stern Hale's glaring judgment. Drive back blurred tears and recriminations. Him silent at wheel, me staring at passing mesquite like lifelines. You're choosing them, I accused finally, voice small. No, but doubt-laced. Just buying time. He'll fix it. Home loomed accusatory, porch light mocking. That night he reached for me tentative, but I recoiled. Don't. Not when you're half gone. He slept on the couch, house dividing like cells. Days fractured. Him closeted in the study on calls. Me riding fences alone. Roan carrying grief. Sketches turned dark. Thunderheads devouring horizons. Figures dissolving into dust. One evening, as lightning danced distant, I found the agreement. Signed prelims, Tessa's name beside his on the dotted line. Heart-shattered glass, I packed silent. Duffel with clothes, sketchbooks, the portrait head cherished now ash in the grate. He found me at dawn, truck loaded, keys in ignition. Eli, wait. Congratulations. I spat, tears hot. Normal life awaits. Please. He gripped the door, desperate. It's a stall. I swear. Tomorrow, he'll tear it up. But eyes betrayed, resignation flickering. Goodbye, Ronan. I drove gravel spitting, rear view shrinking the farmhouse to speck, heart hemorrhaging. Austin swallowed me whole, crash landing on a friend's couch in East Side. Bar shifts doubling to numb ache. Sketches sold brisk, but colors bled gray, every line echoing him. Weeks blurred, calls ignored, letters returned unopened. Tessa's engagement announcement in the Statesman like salt wound. Hale Tucker nuptials set for fall. Then the shotgun. Word came circuitous. A mutual from Willow Ridge, voice hushed on voicemail. Eli, get up here. Bad. Ronan's. Accident. Heart seized. I floored the Ranger north. Dust devils mocking as miles melted. The farm loomed unchanged, but air reeked powder and blood. Cicadas silenced. Ronan knelt in the yard. Knees sunk red earth. Remington discarded. Barrel warm. Bow sprawled yards away. Chest blooming crimson. Eyes vacant skyward. He came ranting. Ronan choked. Hands trembling as sirens wailed distant. Said ID shamed the family, that Tessa called off cause of. Had the gun Harlan's old one. I wrestled, it went off. I dropped beside him, pulling close, his sobs racking as blue lights flashed horizon. I chose wrong, Eli. Should have fought sooner. But in that carnage, Truth crystallized. Love survives even wreckage, if you're brave enough to claim the shards. Sirens crescendoed to wail, painting the farmyard staccato blue and red, shadows leaping like accusations across the blood-soaked dirt. Deputies spilled from cruisers, boots crunching gravel, voices barking orders sharp as the crack that started it all. Ronan rocked in my arms, face buried in my neck, whispers incoherent. Didn't mean, God, Eli, he just lunged. I held tighter, murmuring nonsense soothings, my world narrowing to his shuddering frame, the metallic reek clinging like sin. Sheriff Morales, a barrel-chested vet with mustache like a broom bristle and eyes kind despite the badge, knelt slow, gloved hand on Ronan's shoulder. Easy, son. Tell me slow. Ronan lifted head, face streaked grime and tears, words tumbling fractured. Beau's rage, the gun waved like judgment, tussle by the pump house, accidental discharge into chest. I corroborated numb, timeline etched from the frantic call, my arrival timed providential or cursed. They cuffed him gentle, protocol Morales muttered apologetic. Loading into the back of the cruiser, wrists linked loose. Routine questions, Ronan. You're the nephew. Self-defense writes itself. But as taillights faded toward the county lockup in Jasper, doubt gnawed. Hale's money-greased wheels, Beau's kin to half the force, whispers of queer influence already slithering. I followed in the Ranger, knuckles bone-white on wheel, mind replaying the scene. Shotgun blast shattering peace, blackbirds fleeing like omens, Ronan's whisper, what have I done? Willow Ridge blurred past. Diner lights dim, feed store shuttered, town holding collective breath, rumors fermenting overnight like mash. Lockup smelled of bleach and despair, fluorescent buzz drilling head. They let me in after an eternity of forms, Ronan behind plexiglass, orange jumpsuit swallowing his frame, eyes hollowed caves. Eli. Voice tinny through speaker, hand pressing glass like plea. I lost it all. For what? For us. I leaned close, palm mirroring his. And Beau, he forced your hand. Well, prove it. He nodded faint, but resignation etched deep. Dad'll bury this. Spin it his way. Am done, love. Go, before they taint you too. Never. Kiss blown through barrier, defiant. Ill fight. Lawyers, whatever. But as buzzer released me tonight, resolve warred with terror, stars indifferent overhead. Austin mobilized reluctant. Friends from art circles, a queer advocacy group ID sketched posters for pooling funds for bail. Ronan's father stonewalled, statement to press painting Beau victim of troubled kin. Allusions to lifestyle strife veiled as concern. Tessa went silent, her wedding veil shrouding complicity. Media sniffed blood. Local news vans clogging the drive next dawn. Reporters thrusting mics like spears. Mr. Thorne, is it true the altercation stemmed from a lover's quarrel? I shoved through, duffel slung, no comment, barricading inside with blinds drawn. The farmhouse echoed accusation. Beau's blood scrubbed but staining porch board's ghost. Harlan's pipe mocking from mantle. Sleep evaded, dreams replaying blasts and betrayals, waking sweat-soaked to Coyote's howling dirge. Bail hearing dawned muggy. Jasper Courthouse squat brick baking under sun. Parking lot humming with picketers. Church groups with signs God hates fags. Counter-protesters waving rainbows faded. Inside, air-conditioned stale, judge peering over spectacles at the gallery. Ronan's mother, frail in pearls, dabbing eyes. Beau's widow Nora, black veil and venom glare. Me, alone in back row, heart hammering gavel's rhythm. Public defender, overworked with cheap suit, argued self-defense. Beau's history of aggression, forensics pending on powder residue. Prosecution countered cautious, family ties complicating, but Harlan's will surfaced, ironclad, farm's ownership unchallenged. Judge granted bail steep, conditions. No contact with witnesses, ankle monitor tethering Ronan to Willow Ridge. Release came afternoon, him emerging pale into glare, monitor blinking red at ankle like shackle. We drove silent, radio off, hands clasped over console bridge. Home, he murmured, voice cracking on the word. The farmhouse welcomed wary, porch swing creaking invitation, but inside, ghosts lingered. Beau's cologne faint in the hall, his truck still parked crooked by the barn. We collapsed on the couch, bodies curling instinctive, his head on my lap as I stroked hair damp. "Forgive me," he whispered, fingers tracing my knee. "For doubting. For Beau. Nothing to forgive. But lies tasted ash. Blood on his hands indelible. Our love now criminal stain." That night, lovemaking turned ritual. Slow, sacred, reclaiming flesh from fractures. His mouth mapping scars as if apology. My gasps absolution. Investigation dragged summer into torpor, depositions in stuffy offices, forensics reports trickling. Gun fired point blank, struggle evident in bruises on Ronan's arms. Beau's prints dominant on stock. Witnesses materialized thin. A hand swearing he saw Beau agitated, hollering about sins. Another claiming Ronan, provoked with taunts. Lies all, but doubt seated, jury pool tainted by Hale's influence. Ronan withdrew inward, chores mechanical, eyes distant as he forked hay or checked irrigation. Monitor chirping reminders. ID catch him staring at the east fence, where Beau fell, hand flexing phantom recoil. Replaying it? ID asked soft, joining him on the rail. Every angle, voice hollow. What if ID talked him down? Or run? You saved yourself. Us. But guilt festered, turning touch tentative. Nights him slipping from bed to porch vigils. Pipe smoke curling unanswered questions. I fought external. Canvassing galleries for farm fundraisers, portraits auctioned under Rancher's Requiem, proceeds bolstering legal fees. A docuseries producer from Austin sniff story, queer cowboys, love and land, offering advances for interviews, but Ronan balked. Wanna be spectacle? Parade our shit for clicks. Not parade. Truth. But he turned away, back a wall. Isolation deepened, friends scarce, town shunning, Austin orbit too far. One rare night, we drove to the creek. Tailgate picnic of cold fried chicken and shiner. Fireflies winking complicit. Remember first summer? He mused, head on my shoulder. Felt invincible. We still are. Kiss soft, leading to water's edge. Clothes shedding to moonlight, bodies submerging cool embrace. Making love on the bank, grass cushioning, stars witnesses. Urgent, then tender. His cries muffled in my neck as release washed guilt temporary. But reckoning loomed. Grand jury convened fall. Leaves turning blood orange irony. Indictment came swift. Manslaughter voluntary. Heat of passion cited. Trial set winter. Ronan's father swooped then. Olive branch laced arsenic. Plea it down, son. Well-fund treatment rehab for your confusion. Farm's yours. Clean slate. Tessa tagged along, ringless now, eyes soft persuasion. I get it, Ronan. The pressure. But we can heal this. Together. He slammed the door on them, but Seed took. Nights him pacing, weighing chains. What if they're right? That I'm broken. Dragging you into hell. Love ain't hell. I pulled him close, fierce. It's the light. But doubt mirrored his. My own sketches turning self-portraits fractured. Hazel eyes accusing cowardice. Trial prep consumed November, defense attorney. A sharp Austin import named Carla Ruiz, queer herself with buzzcut and brocade suits. Drilling us relentless in the study. Stick to facts. Beau armed, aggressive, you defended. Ronan nodded wrote, but off-record, confessed terrors. What if they paint me monster? For loving you. They want. But fear bonded us tighter. Touches lifelines. Stolen in barn shadows. Desperate on kitchen floors. Reaffirming worth in every gasp. Opening day dawned frigid. Jasper Courthouse thronged. Reporters' flashbulbs blinding. Picketers amplified. Nora front row weeping theatrical. Jury filed in mixed farmers, teachers, a ranch wife with rainbow pin discreet. Prosecution painted Ronan tragic figure warped. A good old boy, led astray by outsider influences. Fingers pointing my way, gallery murmurs venom. Exhibits flashed. Crime scene photos graphic, Beau's blood pooling like accusation. Autopsy slides turning stomachs. Ronan testified second day, voice steady under lights, recounting the confrontation blow by blow. Beau's slurs, gun brandished, struggle desperate. Cross-exam gutted. You argued over the farm, yes? Over your unnatural attachment to Mr. Thorne. Objection sustained, but damage lingered, jurors shifting uneasy. My turn came third, stand creaking under weight, eyes locking Ronan's across the room. Anchor. I arrived to chaos, I stated clear. Ronan on knees, Beau down. Self-defense, plain. Prosecution probed vicious. And your relationship? Intimate, wasn't it? Motive for jealousy, perhaps. Carla objected thunder. Judge sustaining. But whispers rippled. Fairy tale gone bloody. Deliberation stretched 2 days. Town holding breath. Us holed in the farmhouse with radio off. Chessboard untouched. Third dawn. Verdict. Not guilty. Self-defense upheld. Gallery erupted. Nora wailing. Ronan's mother fainting into arms. Us collapsing in embrace. Tears salt victory. Outside, press swarmed, but Carla bulldozed path. Flashing V-signs. Drive home blurred cheers. Radio finally on blaring Willie Nelson anthems. Farmhouse glowed welcome. Porch swaying triumph. And we made love on the rug before the fire. Slow exultant, bodies celebrating survival. His mouth worship on every inch, my name chant as waves crested. But victory bittersweet. Farm saved, but scars etched permanent. Beau's widow sued civil, dragging dirt public. Hale's severed ties irrevocable. Ronan sold fringe acres to developers, cash buffer against vultures. But core held, house, barn, heart. Winter wrapped gentle then. First snow dusting fields pure. Us bundled on the porch with cocoa steaming, his arm heavy around shoulders. We made it, he murmured, kiss lingering. Barely, but truth hummed. Love forged in fire, unbreakable. Spring unfurled tentative, bluebonnets carpeting roadsides like forgiveness. The farm stirring from slumber with calves dropping in pastures. Their bleats a chorus of renewal. Trial dust settled uneasy, Willow Ridge dividing. Some shunning steadfast, crosses burned anonymous on the drive one moonless night, embers glowing accusation. Others nodding tentative at the co-op, old Mr. Jenkins grunting reckon justice served over bagged feed. Ronan moved ginger like a man reacquainting with gravity. Chores a meditation. Tilling soil soft, planting rows of okra and corn with hands that once trembled trigger. We rebuilt deliberate, bricks of routine. Mornings shared in the kitchen, eggs sizzling as sunlight slanted golden through lace curtains Harlan favored. Coffee mugs clinking toasts to banal miracles. Past the cream, love, head say casual. The endearment slipping natural now, no shadows chasing. ID sketch at the table. Quick studies of him buttering toast. Jaw relaxed. Laugh lines deepening with genuine mirth. Love settled domestic, touches woven seamless. His hand low on my back during town runs. Fingers lacing under diner tables. A quick kiss stolen in the produce aisle where apples gleamed temptation. But ghosts lingered subtle. Ronan's sleep fractured still, waking with starts to phantom blasts. Rolling to me for anchoring bodies fitting puzzle clothes. Dreamt it again. Head confess into dawn dark, voice muffled against my chest. Beau rising, gun in hand. ID trace his spine slow, murmuring. He's gone. We're here. Lovemaking followed gentle reclamation, him entering slow, eyes locked, breaths sinking to rhythm of heartbeats. Release a sigh shared like sacrament. Finances teetered, civil suit from Nora pending like sword, but community cracked open cracks of compassion. a barn raising for the east fence, neighbors hauling hammers unbidden, wives bearing pies and sidelong smiles. Mrs. Delaney even thawed, slipping me a recipe card at church, no longer attending, but the gesture spoke volumes. "Fences make good neighbors," she muttered, eyes crinkling rare. Ronan beamed from the ridge, waving thanks, later pulling me into the tack room for fervent gratitude. Mouths hungry against saddles, hay prickling skin as we gasped release. Art bloomed my outlet, canvases shipping to galleries in Dallas and Houston. Series, fractured fields. Abstracts of barbed wire and bloodied earth resolving to rainbows, fetching prices that padded the escrow. A reviewer in Texas Monthly called it a queer odyssey of the soul, and Ronan framed the clipping by the studio door, the one we'd built creekside. Rough timber and skylights, easel bathed in dappled light. "Proud of you, Eli," head say, leaning in doorway as I mixed pigments, then crossing to kiss paint-flecked knuckles. Yet undercurrents tugged, Ronan's father sending missives cold, disinheritance formal, for the good of the name. He burned them unopened, but hurt flickered. Nights him staring at family photos faded on the mantle, Harlan grinning gap-toothed, Bo young and unscarred. Was it worth it? Head muse, voice low. Every scar, idea firm, pulling him to bed, body's testament. Exploring with mouths and hands deliberate, drawing moans like confessions, his surrender a gift hard one. Summer swelled full, heat a familiar foe, but this cycle laced joy. County Fair in Jasper, us wandering midway arm-brushed, cotton candy sticking lips before kisses sweet in Ferris will sway, world shrinking to gondola sway. He won me a stuffed longhorn at ring toss, laughing boyish as I clutched it absurd. Later that night in the truck bed under stars, making love slow to cricket chorus, his whispers forever etching soul. Tessa resurfaced autumn, letter hand-delivered by courier, envelope cream and scented. "No hard feelings," it read. "Found my path, engaged to a doctor in Dallas. Wished us talked sooner. Be happy." Ronan exhaled long, folding it careful into drawer. She meant well in her way. No venom lingered, just pity soft, and we toasted her release with wine on the porch. His head in my lap as I read poetry aloud, Whitman, leaves of grass tangling with our fingers. Civil suit resolved winter, Nora settling out of court for a pittance. Her lawyers conceding insufficient evidence of malice, after depositions exposed Bo's tempers long. Relief washed clean, mortgage refinanced local with co-op backing, farm secured for generations. Ronan marked it with a ring, simple silver band, engraved roots, slipped on my finger during supper, candlelight flickering. "Marry me, Eli. Not legal yet, but ours." Tears pricked, yes, tumbling easy, sealing with kiss that led to table-cleared frenzy. Dishes clattering as we loved amid candle stubs, vows gasped between thrusts. Years folded accordion. Farm prospered modest, us adopting a mutt from the shelter named Harlan, shaggy and loyal. My exhibits touring coasts, Ronan joining for openings, Stetson tipped rakish in Soho lofts. Austin mended partial. His mother visiting tentative, pearls clutched but hugs warming, holidays shared with pecan pie and halting talks of moving forward, challenges reared inevitable. Droughts crisping fields, forcing sails lean. Ronan's shoulder surgery after a roan buck, me nursing with compresses and quiet nights. But resilience rooted deep, love our aquifer. Fierce in fights over irrigation rights, tender in recoveries, always circling back to center. Us, intertwined. One golden dusk, years on, we sat the porch swing, Harlan the dog snoring at feet, grandchildren of neighbors chasing fireflies in the meadow. Ronan, silver threading his temples, squeezed my hand, band glinting. Everything changed here, didn't it? That summer. Everything. I leaned head to his shoulder, heartbeat sinking familiar. But for the better. He turned, kiss soft as landing. Wouldn't trade a acre. As sun dipped, painting sky bruise purple, peace settled profound. Not absence of storm, but harbor in its wake. Love, we'd learned, wasn't straight lines or easy paths, but the wild bend of rivers carving canyons, deep and enduring. In Willow Ridge, under that vast Texas vault, we'd claimed ours, flawed, fierce, free.